first grade, and I get my first grade and my second grade very confused. I kind of mix them up um, because it's like my first grade year was like a replay of my second grade year in a lot of ways. And I do think that I did move to my mom's in New Mexico my kindergarten year. I feel like I started kindergarten with my grandmother, and then I finished kindergarten in New Mexico with my mom. And I feel like that kind of, I don't know where I started first grade at, but I remember my first grade teacher, so that is a touchstone there. A really warm, loving, big black woman who would sing "This is the day that the Lord hath made" with us, and I always thought that that was beautiful. And so yeah, I had my friend who she was like really into spirituality and ghosts and stuff, and I kind of was too. And I would walk to school and I would walk home, and I remember being scared to walk to school and stuff, but my mom being like, "It's not a big deal. Like, don't be scared. It's not a big deal." And so I was just like, okay, so who am I to be scared? And so I remember one day I came home, I walked home from school and nobody was home, and it scared me, and I didn't know what to think or what to do. And so I called this friend of mine, and she was like, "Do you see anything?" And, kind of putting thoughts in my head. And I did. I was like, "I see like a scary ghost and da 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 da." And she was just like, "Oh my gosh." And we hyped ourselves up to get scared. And she was just like, "You gotta call 911 right now." And so I did. I hung up the phone and I called 911, and my mom walked in the door, and, I was freaking out. And so I hung up the phone with 911, but they called right back, and she explained the situation to them, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't get in trouble or anything. But that moment sticks out in my mind. And I remember in New Mexico playing a lot in the alley and playing with a bunch of kids that they would play baseball, kind of, and I never did like that. And they would cuss in Spanish like all the time, like it was caca this, caca that, all the time. I remember that. So after my first grade year in school, my dad would come to New Mexico and pick me up, and I don't really remember that fully. I do remember a time, I guess I was in first grade, maybe a little bit younger. I don't know why I want to insert this here, but I feel like if I don't, I'm going to keep on going with my story and leave it behind. But I do want to mention, and I don't know why I want to mention this, but it's something that happened to me and my crazy, weird perspective of it, I guess. So I remember we would always go to my stepdad's sister's house. So she was like my aunt, and they were like my cousins. And the boy cousin he convinced me to, we were playing doctor, and he convinced me to do something, and I don't know, it was weird. And my mom walked in, and she was like really upset about it, and really upset with his mom. And I ended up I slept in the bed with her that night, and I was like really uncomfortable. I didn't like that. And, I mean, I was just uncomfortable being there after that. It was just weird. It was a weird experience. But it was like my first experience with a little boy kind of thing, and it's just weird that that's how it was. I don't know. It's just strange. And my dad, he picked me up. I don't ever remember that, but my stepsister would always say, "We went all the way to New Mexico to pick you up." So I guess it was a memorable trip for her. But my mom lived all over in New Mexico. I remember so many houses in New Mexico that it's crazy. I really do. It really is really crazy. I would stay the summers with my grandma and my dad. And like I said, I always remember having so much fun at my dad's, but getting scrapes and bruises all over me, and my grandma being upset about it. But I loved being at my grandma's because I felt like I was a princess. And at my grandma's, we would go to church, and I would go to Bible school every year. Every year, I would go to Bible school, and I loved Bible school, and I loved church, and um, I loved the kids there. And I don't know, I loved it. And my aunt, she had a best friend who had 3 daughters, and her oldest daughter was right under my age, and we were really good friends. And I really loved church. And that's where I was given the inspiration to read the Bible all the way through. Yeah, I would keep the Bible. I always had a Bible with me, and I would read it because why not? I can read, you know? I can read and I can make up my own mind. And I felt like from the church it made me feel like I need to know this myself kind of thing because I don't know if I felt like that as a child, but I didn't want to be deceived. But as a child, I felt like I need to put this on my heart. Like I need to take this and put it on my heart is kind of the feeling that I had and why I decided to read it through and through. I don't know. I never did have the feeling of, I never did get the God's bad feeling when reading through the stuff. It was like he knows better than me kind of feeling. Because at the time, there was stupid things that I saw the adults in my life do all the time. So why would it be any different than God does some things that I think is kind of stupid, like, you might not understand why Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, but God does, and that's not for me to know right now kind of thing. And my prayer life began too. I was very devout in my prayer life, and I took to heart the your pray in your closet, but I didn't, literally pray. Sometimes I did literally get in my closet and pray, but there actually were many times that I would cry to Jesus in my closet. But I definitely prayed in private. I never did like want to pray. I never liked public prayer. I never was very good at that. But I was very private in my prayer life, and every evening was a time to talk to God. And most nights I would pray that my great grandma would live long enough to see my children, and that I would have a baby girl, and that I would have a good husband. I would pray for a good husband too, but not as much. I usually prayed for a baby girl and for my great grandma to get to meet my baby girl. I loved my great grandma. My great grandma felt so comfortable and home like to me. I loved her. And what's very interesting is at the end of my first grade summer, staying with my dad and my stepsister, and I loved it over there. It was a different environment. My mom is like uppity, and everything needs to be in this order and place, and we are beautiful, and she's not that prim and proper. She's very hippie like, but there's also like this prim and proper feeling at her house, like vibe. Whereas at my dad's, it's like, woo, chaos, woo, party time, and maybe it's party time, or maybe it's, wah, 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 why are you doing that? You're such a fool, time. But, and it's chaotic, and it's a different experience. And I liked it there. And I liked my sister, and so she convinced me to start second grade with her. And so I decided to start second grade with her, and so I started going to second grade, living with my dad this year. And my sister wasn't as good as making friends as I was. I was just kind of, I guess, friendly, and I guess one of the girls liked me that didn't like my sister, and I didn't know that my sister was having trouble and was like so happy that she was going to have a friend. And I just kind of, was myself and trying to make friends. And she got disappointed. And then my mom called like a weekend and was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I was like, "I want to come back to your house." And so I ended up leaving, and I went back to New Mexico for second grade. And there was a time, now I'm walking back and forth to school again, and there was a time that I was late one morning and I got in trouble for being late. And I tried to say, I walked, and, I don't know. I don't remember my mom getting me ready for school. I remember getting up and getting ready myself, like all the time. And, and so, um, I was so upset that I got in trouble for being late. And so I the next morning I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got up and I got ready and I walked to school. And the school was locked. It wasn't even open yet. And the sun wasn't even up yet. And I sat on a bench right outside the door waiting for the sun to come up and the school to be unlocked. And I fell asleep on the school bench, and the principal, when she got to work, saw me and woke me up and was like, "What are you doing here?" And woke me up, and I was able to go in the cafeteria and get me something to eat and stuff. But that memory sticks out to me. I don't know why. And I remember all the teachers making some kind of uproar about it. And I think they had a meeting with my mom about it. I don't know. Really strange. But my friend, and so I made a friend in second grade, and she was living in the suburbs area, and it was a really good, nice area. And she joined the Girl Scouts, so I wanted to join the Girl Scouts. And so my mom let me join the Girl Scouts, and she would drop me off at the different meetings. And my friends' parents were involved in the Girl Scouts, so that was a lot of fun that they were there. And I would have sleepovers at her house with other girls too. And that was a lot of fun, being in Girl Scouts. But also at the same time, there was this feeling of like all the other girls' parents were involved in their lives, and mine really weren't. And mine, like whenever it came to time to sell the cookies, it was like, "Come on, can we go? Can y'all help me sell the cookies?" Other people's parents took it to work, and, all this stuff helped them sell a lot of cookies. And for me, they're like, "Well, you want to do it? Go do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I went out there walking around my neighborhood, just little 6-year-old, 7-year-old me walking door to door. "You want to buy some cookies?" And then when the cookies came in, they gave me a wagon. I had a big bag and put it on there and gave me a wagon. I'm not a big bag because really I didn't sell that much. I sold the least of everyone. And I don't know, it was like this feeling of all my friends are rich. They're rich with family, they're rich with love, they're rich with money. And I'm really poor and broken on my own. And so I'm just trying to fit in with you guys, and I can be one of you too. Like, and they, I always felt accepted by my friends. It's not that I didn't feel accepted. I did. I felt accepted, but I felt out of place in some weird way. And I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I don't know. It's really strange. So, yeah, there you have it. First grade and second grade. It is what it is, guys. It's not what it's not. And that's for sure.